Hey everybody, good afternoon. Today is May 13th, 2018, also known as Mother's Day 2018, which is going to be the topic of this video. The count would be 2.03. It's the third day of my second year, in case you're wondering how that numbering system works. I always try to upload them in order. So whatever this is, I think it's going to be like 050567 or something. They're in sequential sequence. So someone could always just do it that way too. But make a video today about Mother's Day. Mother's Day 2018. I didn't make a Mother's Day video last year. I did make a video on this day. I went back a year ago, and let me fix the monitor. Here we go. I did make a video 3 days into my first year. So actually, I did make a video a year ago to this date. And in the video, I mostly talk about perhaps joining the Louisville German American Club, getting on some sort of committee of some kind, and meeting new people. So it's funny how a year later there are some topics. But I want to talk a little bit about Mother's Day this year, because this year is different than any other year of my life. Because this year I am recognized within the family here as a mother. I'm one of my daughter's mothers as opposed to her father, which I am her father, and I'm not her brother's keeper either. But no, not my own grandpa. Trying to make fun of this. It's not funny, but I'm trying to keep a light heart about it. But yeah, this is the first year in this process for me, and I'm making note of it on the blog. I'd say probably for the last month, I have been referring to myself as one of my daughter's mothers. I'm one of her mothers. Someone was to say, "Are you a mother?" I'd say yes, in passing, but that's the way I've been. In conversation, sometimes something will come up and I'll say, well, I am one of your mothers and I love you. That's why I want you to pick up your room. You know how that goes. But this is the first Mother's Day that applies to yours truly in name. Now, in principle, I've been mother for a long time. I have always been the one to cook, clean, do the domestic stuff, darn the socks, hem the pants, wash the laundry, do the grocery shopping, clean the house, etc., etc. I have always been the live-in domestic mother to my child. And that's just the way it was before. And I don't necessarily think you have to be a male or a female to do that. But I have been the primary caregiver, maybe is the better word. And so, I've kind of owned it this year. Mother's Day, I'm one of your mothers. Okay, now, and then we've got that out of the way. Nothing has happened today. I don't know what I expected. If, I would wake up and there would be trumpets or a mariachi band welcoming me to the world. Breakfast in bed. I don't know. I expected something. Okay, in years past, back when I was in beta mode, I did facilitate things happening from the mother on Mother's Day. Whether it be breakfast in bed or out to eat or a treat or something. And I guess that carries over from my family, growing up. That was the way we did things. Hang on, I better rescue the cat. Okay, there we go. Slight blip. Back with my baby. So, obviously, as children, we get somewhat indoctrinated by our parents. How did they treat their parents? For example, my father always took his mother out to eat. For a little bit, I can remember as a wee lass, I can remember when we would go over to my father's mother's house, my grandma's house, and we had kind of a cookout or whatnot. And she was, treated as the queen that she was. I can remember, and it's a little bit hazy, back when I was married, going over to my mother-in-law's house, same deal. All of the children came together. Hooray, hooray. We love you, Mom. Thank you so much, etc., etc. Unfortunately, she has passed away. But, so what can we expect? I'm a little bit bummed. But before I let that idea sink in a little too much, I want to say I'm very, very appreciative of the fact that my daughter lives with me. I am the caregiver of my daughter. Okay, that I am getting to see my daughter grow up. And I recognize there are some trans women. It makes me feel about this big to complain about not getting a parade on Mother's Day when I have friends whose children are being kept from them. It makes me feel like a whiny bitch. When I think about how other trans women, like I said, their kids are being kept from them. They're not allowed to see their kids because they decided to be their authentic selves. They're being punished by their spouses and society somewhat too bit. So let me get that chestnut out. I recognized how lucky I am that my daughter's in the other room. Okay, she's in the other room right now making pizza rolls and playing Minecraft on the Xbox. I mean, she's doing her own thing. But like I said, I think last year and years previous, and again, the blog is about my transition. The year that things went to shit, we were still kind of muddling through the holidays, and so Mother's Day probably went through under its normal. I would plan something special for my ex-wife with my daughter. We would do something for Mother's Day. So that probably happened that year, and then the following year would have been kind of when the marriage was falling apart, and we may have done something for Mother's Day, but it wouldn't have been very wholeheartedly. It would have been just going through the motions. And then the following year, definitely we were separate. And, even though I was on my way to full time and whatnot, definitely Mother's Day was something for my ex-wife to do. I supported my daughter doing something with my ex-wife on Mother's Day. And then I think the following year, same thing. Last year was the same thing. Definitely I was more established in this role as myself. And so this year is kind of, like I said, it's different in that I am owning up to the fact that I have been a mother for a while. And I'm one of Katie's mothers. Okay. And I'm very thankful to my ex-wife for sharing some of that. And as I've said many, many times, I'm not out to replace my ex-wife. I'm standing alongside my ex-wife. We are co-parents. And if this was some sort of Olympic platform, she'd be on the top of the platform getting the gold medal. She is the mother. I'm one of the mothers, but she is the mother, capital M, mother. She is the mother. I'm just one of them. Okay? Whether I'm gold or bronze, I'll let the future decide that. But again, yeah. So this, like I said, this time around has been a little bit different. I've had a little bit of expectation. Like I said, I knew I wasn't going to wake up to a mariachi band or something, and maybe in the future, I don't think I'll wake up to a mariachi band. I'm not complaining. I love mariachi music. Okay. But that said, we don't know what the future holds. But for the current, like I said, on the suckitude meter, it's about 50-50. But again, I recognize how lucky I am to have my daughter with me and that I am the primary caregiver. Okay. A little bit sad too. My mom kind of went out of her way to do something special for me for Mother's Day. She told me about it. She had gotten me a new apron. I always wear my red apron. I don't know where it got to when I do housework and everything. And while she was here, I had commented about how I really wanted a new apron, one with frills on it. And to look like Kasumi Tendo from Ranma One Half. She had like this cool apron with like frills on it. She always wears it. It's not like a lingerie apron. It's a real function, like a maid's apron. Okay, pinafore, kind of. But anyway, she said she found this cook's apron that had something on it about mom, that I was a mom. That really touches, gets me. So she kind of set up this, and for Mother's Day, here's what's coming. And I held off your birthday. My birthday was 14 days ago. She combined my birthday present. She said, oh, and we're sending money, which of course every child loves. And so it was one of those things that didn't arrive. It didn't come in the mail, didn't make it. Turns out she had the wrong house number, the wrong address. And it kind of, I guess that adds to the suckage. It adds to the poor me meter. Okay, which again, I'm very thankful. I count myself lucky that my mom recognizes me. But it just kind of adds to the for today. And again, I feel like, maybe this big now complaining about it. But for the blog, I want to make note, for comparison for the future. I hope one day to be remarried. I don't know if I'm going to be remarried to a man or a woman, but I would love to wake up on a Mother's Day and be treated not like royalty, but be recognized for what I do. And that doesn't have to happen being married, but as when I wore the hat, when I wore the pants, I made sure Mother's Day was very special for the woman of the house. Maybe I still am, but you know what I mean? So, like I said, today is not terrible. It could be much worse, but it's not quite what I thought it was. I found that, and I want to add more to that. I want to take off my hat somewhat and try to be a little introspective or empathetic to my daughter. It may very well be, number one, she may not be old enough to recognize that, you do something for your mommy on Mother's Day. And I'm not talking a gift. I'm just talking, it can be as little as picking up after yourself, throwing your own garbage away, little things. Oh, I'll do the dishes today. You know what I mean? Something that says, I appreciate you. But she did give me a hug, and so again, makes me feel maybe this tiny now, complaining about it. But anyway, I want to look at it somewhat from her point of view, and to step back from the whole situation and look at this as, she's 11 years old. And 4 years ago, she lived in a household with a man and a woman, her mother and her father. And so I have to remember that things have changed for my daughter quite a bit over the last 4 years. It's been difficult. It's not been easy. So I have to kind of remember where she's coming from. And maybe that's what ties into what I was thinking earlier about, how much can I really expect? Shouldn't I be happy with the way things are because my daughter has accepted me for my authentic self. I recognize that. I'm very lucky that my daughter does accept me and does give me hugs. And, she calls me Karen. Isn't that enough? Why do I feel like I need more than that? I don't know. I just have to share it. And, what will the future hold? That I don't know. I would anticipate that, if I was to meet somebody, and I alluded to that in my video a year ago, if I met somebody at the German American Club, and this year it would be, hey, if I was to meet somebody at the CUPS group, the pagan group through the UWs, if I was to meet someone there, male or female, if I was to meet someone at the game shop. Yesterday I went to buy a board game. That was my treat for me. And while I was there, I met a group of people that the game shop owner introduced me to a couple other people. One of them was a girl gamer, which is much like what I was going to be, the odd one in the room, right? Gamer with breasts. Well, a woman with breasts, I should say. But that would be a place to meet someone, and how will life be different then? And so, like I said, we don't necessarily know what the future holds. We don't know. The only thing I did today when I was dilating is I just said, well, a year from now, my hair will probably be at my nipples. Give my hair another 6 inches to grow at my nipples. Let me talk about that for a minute too. Dilating. Backed off on the dilating a little bit. Looking for a good example. The dilators they give you about yay big, yay round. They have the numbers on the side, the dots, and the goal is the third one in the middle. That's what I was told. Well, depending on if you measure, number one, depending on the thickness, the thickness of the dilator, and if you measure from underneath or up above or somewhere in the middle, they're curved. And so this measurement underneath is actually not as, it's less distance than this one up top. And, well, that doesn't make any sense, though, because it would be on the outer. Maybe I'm screwing that up. The outer would be more. Yeah. So, if you were to do 5 inches and you measured on the bottom, 5 inches is going to be a little more this way. If you do 5 inches on the top, it's going to be a little more this way. So, I felt like I was doing something wrong, or I wasn't giving myself enough credit. And that's the bottom. What I've kind of determined is, 5 dots is the goal, but 4 dots are okay. And I feel like when I'm doing it, I'm pushing up against what would be my cervix. I feel like I am pushing up against the back wall. And obviously everybody's different, and so the fact that I can get up to 3 dots, that I can get up to 5 inches is pretty cool, considering that the average cold depth of a vagina is somewhere between 4. I've seen 3.75 inches, which I doubt, but somewhere between 4 and 4.5. So the fact that I'm doing that should be enough. It should be enough, But I guess there's part of me that I see those other dots on there, and I'm like, I want more. But that's where I'm being silly, and I'm hurting myself, and that's where I got to back off on that, because I'm trying so hard to get more depth, and I'm pushing up against that wall and pushing, and I'm not hurting myself when I do it. But then when I get up an hour later, I'm like, damn, Karen, you're pushing up against that back wall. So I recognize that. Um, and then from there, we'll talk a little bit about stimulation. And I made my last video was about, the search for the orgasm. I can feel myself being right on the edge of orgasming, right on the edge of climaxing, but I can't reach it. And so I feel like that's progress, because a couple weeks ago, nothing. Nothing. Now it's, rubbing the clitoris and tapping a little bit. I can get there. When you feel the overwhelming feeling, and your legs are like, they assume the position. Legs are ready to receive, but of course there's nobody there. But today I grabbed the dilator, and I was like, not masturbating with it, but I'm like, okay, I can see how this comes together now. Not that I didn't imagine it before, but I had never actually done it. And I could see how a penis would turn me on, as opposed to a big old piece of plastic. So I might look into that too. We'll see eventually. Just something. I gotta have maybe an aid or something. I hate to say a vibrator, but that may be it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still healing. And not to gross you out too much, but last night I did spit out, but my vagina spit out during the night a big chunk of skin, renewal skin, what I was calling schmutz. And so when I looked at it this morning, I could see where there was a lot of red flesh, a lot of red, tender, new flesh. And so that's really, really good. And I'm hoping that my left labia starts to curl under. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. I go back to see the surgeon in middle of June, and I'm hoping by then, as she said it would curl. It would start to pull itself back in, because it just doesn't look right. It's still healing, obviously. So anyway, I feel like I've covered a lot of different topics, but it shows kind of a little more about what's on my mind. And I know the main topic was Mother's Day 2018, and we'll see a little more about what Mother's Day 2019 is. Like I said, we don't know. I may have met somebody, and they may take me out to dinner. I don't know. Maybe I need to plan ahead a little bit and leave some fun money, like I bought my game yesterday, and had my mom's birthday check arrived. That would have made a little bit of a difference. But the only other thing I could think of a little bit is I have been fooling around with my voice again, which is it's like escapism. I can't, when I pop into my upper register, I feel so relieved, and that worries me a little bit. It worries me a little bit. I don't feel like I'm schizophrenic. Okay, I don't feel like I have two people inside of me, but there is definitely a difference when I use my upper register, and that makes me wonder what's going on there. But I was tempted to kind of start to use my upper register when my daughter wasn't around, just to see how that would be. But I know that's a to be continued item. That's something that I was going to address when I'm healed, and that may be the best route. I have too many pigs, as the saying goes. I have too many things on my plate right now, but it just feels so good. Oh, so on that note, life goes on. Life goes on. So, all right, my friends, good luck to you in your journey, in your transition, and I wish everyone the best of luck. I made a post about Mother's Day, that I don't think you have to be male or female to be a mother. And I think Mother's Day, a mother is someone who nurtures. And so I think anybody, whether they be male or female, whether they have children or they don't, if you are a love spreader or a nurturer, then I think, you have it in you where you can be. You should celebrate Mother's Day. And I got a card too, from my good friend Heather. Happy Mother's Day. Isn't that neat? I was best man at her wedding. Isn't that odd to, some 20 years later to be transitioned and everything? But anyway. All right, my friends, I'm going to sign off. I do appreciate the bandwidth, and I wish everybody good luck. Okay, we'll talk to you later. All right, bye-bye.